hey, live off that 80, do what you want with that 80, but let's save and invest 20.
Yeah. You do 20 years, your money will be making more than you. More than likely. I mean, and then you've got the freedom to do, there you go. And I saw you light up. What do you want to do with that freedom? And it's going to be different for everyone.
I'm trying to give me a bag. I'm trying to give me a bag. I'm trying to give me a bag. I'm trying to give me a bag.
What's up? You are now listening to FY Fly the podcast, and I'm your host, Hassan Thomas, along with Remy, and we are here to share tools on how millennials can budget, save, invest, and understand student debt and credit to achieve financial freedom. If you're a high school student, college student, or someone who's interested in gaining more financial insight, this podcast is for you.
I'm trying to give me a bag. I'm trying to give me a bag. I'm trying to give me a bag.
What's up, my FY Fly folks out there? How y'all doing? I hope y'all doing all right. Welcome to the FY Fly podcast. My name is Hassan Thomas, aka the kid that did and the man that can, baby. And today, we're going to be chopping it up with the Fincon family here, giving a little pre-Fincon game because we're going to Fincon. We're talking about Gen Z, how we can help them, how we can help teach them, and how they can benefit from this financial education that we have here. So today on the panel, we have Miss Jasmine Paul, Miss Colleen Salchow, and we're speaking with Mr. David D. How's everybody doing? How's everybody?
Good.
Good to be here. Fincon's coming up quick.
I know it. We're going to be in person, rocking out, got the Fincon energy going, so it's going to be great. And I want to ask, for those Gen Z that we're talking to, we're still going to party. We're still going to have fun. We're still going to live our lives. But how do you think we should do it in a way that we are still being financially responsible and thinking about our future? What would you say to that?
Just define what success looks like for you and then plan accordingly. Like, yes. I feel like that was my struggle. I could have lived this best life, in college, had I just planned accordingly, had I made some sacrifices, like getting a roommate. That was the ending solution. It was getting a roommate, living in a house, $200 a month for rent and utilities, which was amazing in college. But yeah, just plan accordingly. But you can absolutely have fun. You don't have to withhold the fun. But I do think you need to plan the fun. And that was something I did not do. And that's something I do
plan
now.
The fun. Yes, ma'am. I love that. Plan the fun. I like to call it a fun fund. Plan the fun. I love that. That's going to help a lot of people because there's this notion or this phrase, go with the flow. Yeah, that may work sometimes, but I like to have a plan. I like to have a backup plan because it just creates that confidence. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry. There's no thought of, am I going to have money at the end of the month to pay for rent, pay for the car note? Those type of payments, they rarely change. So you know what you're going to pay for your car, for your rent. Put that away in the beginning of the month when you have money, and then spend the rest. It do have your fun. Kind of change the order in which we're doing things.
Just on this point too, and I'll keep it quick, but a big one as well is because I view money differently. So perspective. It doesn't mean no fun. It's just knowing what that cost that fun actually is. So as Jasmine was saying, I mean, if the cost is you're always paycheck to paycheck the rest of your life and you never hit this flow, that's a big cost. If the cost is, I just went out and spent $100 and I can make it tomorrow, it's a different way to looking at it. So
big facts. What do you think, Colleen? Did you have anything to add to that?
When it comes to paying for fun, I'm a military spouse, and so every weekend my husband's home with our family is even more special because we never know when he could be called away for duty. But having a plan for that spending money. And so we still use cash. When my husband and I go out we have Oktoberfest coming up here soon at one of our favorite microbreweries. We're going to be some of the few people going in with cash, but that also is okay, we've spent all the money. It's time to leave. But it's that barrier that we've put in place so that, we can still go have fun. We just have to be intentional because we've got other goals that we want to reach too. So you can still go bars, entertainment venues, sports arenas, they still accept cash.
Yes, ma'am. That plan, those intentional plans, that's what I'm getting. Perspective, intention, and having a plan. That's what I've taken away from all of that. Speaking for my Gen Z and millennials, we tend to take a lot of heat from other generations. So let's start off on more of the positive side. What would y'all say are some of the big opportunities that young folks have by becoming financially literate or taking money serious earlier in our lives?
The first thing that jumps out at me is that the younger generations, they have time. Time is time. They have the most valuable asset because it's non-renewable. You can't get it back. So for compounding interest, like David was talking about, they have time for that money to grow on its own little by little, but that little by little over a longer period of time can make such a big impact.
Facts.
There's this time is definitely one thing. I feel like the younger generations have a head start. And what I mean by a head start is when it comes to college age students, there are so many more resources available, so many more scholarship apps, so many scholarships available, so much money out there for first generation students, for definitely students of color, for students that, you know, are wanting to do trades. There's so much more opportunity of just free money out there for students to take advantage of. These are things that I did not have the experience in back, 10, 12 years ago. And so I definitely think there's a head start where you don't have to start in the negative when it comes to debt. Like there's so many resources available for students. So definitely feel like there's definitely a head start.
David, what do you think are some big opportunities for Generation Z by taking money seriously now?
I have to go with Colleen again with the time. Like the problem is it's one of those things where we hear it and we're like, yeah, I get it. It's not a big deal. But it's because we don't understand the exponential component. So if you take someone like even a Warren Buffett, it's arguably the reason he's one of our greatest investors and he has so much wealth is because he's lived so long and done this so long. It's not the decisions he's made. If he lives another 10 years, his wealth will double. So just don't underestimate that compounding factor because it has a massive impact. And if I go back to Warren Buffett, that means if he started 7 to 10 years earlier, he would have twice as much money today. I mean, keep that in mind.
And I think that's huge because, we don't, especially as young folks, we don't think about the future as much as we should. But from understanding things like you just said about Warren Buffett, understand like this information is there, the facts and the proof is there. So let's take the initial hour or 30 minutes that it takes to set up automated investing, automated saving. So we don't have to think about it. We don't have to we can let the technology do the work for us. So we don't have to think about it because I'm sure everybody listening, people on the panel with me here today, we have a lot going on. So by setting up that automated investing, I think you don't have to be so focused on, I need to save this right here. I need to invest this right here. You set it up, let it do it for you over the years. And then, one day we're 50, 60, and we got, $7,500, $100,000 to lay back on.
Well, and lean on that technology. Back to Gen Z, my generation didn't have that option. You have that option. Like everything was manual. You set up an app. You were talking earlier about your apps. I mean, you don't even have to think about it. You set it up and it won't be an hour to set it up. It'll be 10 minutes to set up and your savings is automated for the rest of your life. It's simple.
Yeah. And to go along with that, I'm sure for your listeners that, they're like hearing about all this like compound interest and everything. I'll give you a website I use with my clients and it's investor.gov. And on investor.gov, they've got a compound interest calculator on there and you will see like if you contribute right now, the maximum you can put into a Roth IRA under a certain age. So generators can put $6,500 a year into a Roth IRA. So if you break that up, that's about like $1 per month. But just if you contributed even just $200 a month, but for like 20 years at a realistic return rate would be like, or a conservative one really would be like maybe 8%. But just see how much that grows in front of you. It's amazing. And that's where this time issue comes in.
And I want to touch on what you said, Colleen, about, the conversations. I have a real life example. So in 2021, I opened up my Roth IRA with $50. I set up automated investments of $50. It's 23 now. I got a new job in June. I then raised those contributions to $200. So it's not it doesn't have to be a huge start. But what you can do is you can start now with $50, $25. And then once you get paid more, you start increasing, just like people talk about, lifestyle creep and lifestyle inflation. Well, let's do investment inflation as well. Once you get paid more, let's start investing a little more as well. So we talked about the positives Now let's kind of switch it a little bit and get into some of the challenges or improvement areas that you see for Generation Z and millennials. What do y'all think?
I think one of the biggest challenges that Gen Z has, we talked about this before we started this call, when I was teaching in Detroit during the recession, I wasn't getting notifications every night of like this. I was able to get my monthly statements in the mail. That's when they were still being sent to me. And then I would find a time where I could focus directly on that. And I appreciated that. Look, now, going through the COVID and everything, what stuck out to me was like how much information I was being inundated with from my different alerts and information. So I've learned how to, set boundaries. I'm like, okay, I turned off the alerts for, the different news apps and everything. And like, I will look at that when I am ready to look at that. And I think that has helped my mental health a lot. And so that's one thing I would encourage, Gen Zers to be aware of. How much information are you receiving?
Yeah, that mental aspect is huge behind your financial decisions. Because if you're not in the right mental space, you most likely will make a decision that's not for your best interest just based on how you're feeling at that moment. So I think being in the right headspace to deal with your finances is key. So thanks for that, Colleen.
Yep. Maybe to even piggyback off of Colleen, as far as information, I think it's always been around. Misinformation and inaccurate information has always been an issue. It's just, I think today it's just more, there's just more access to it. And so I find with the presentations I have with different groups that some of the students or some of the young people will mention some of the things that they're interested in or they came across on TikTok. And it's like,
I knew you was going to say it. I was waiting for you to say TikTok. I was waiting for you to say it.
And I think it's great, right? We talk, I always talk about this abundance of resources. There's so much information out there, but also I think there might be some challenges in maybe not understanding what is the right resource or what is a good source of information. And so I definitely think that's a challenge when it comes to making maybe investments, the type of investing, when it comes to, you can find these side hustles and all these different things. I do think just having quality information, relevant information, and do a quick search before you jump in and put your money into. So I definitely think some of the challenges are just a lot of misinformation.
Yes, that is a big challenge because yes, we're already financially educated. So once we see something on TikTok or a different platform, we know that's kind of, I don't know if that's legal or if they could do that. You know what I mean? So, but for the student or for the young person that may not be as financially educated just yet, they won't know whether it's true or false. So what you said, going to NerdWallet, going to Investopedia, those kind of trustworthy sites will help people. But then also, Jasmine, what you said a little earlier about having that mentor, somebody that you can, hey, let me send you this link to this video. Is this true? Can I do this? Without going to jail? Like, can I do this? So I think that's a huge piece there as well. What you got for us, David?
For me, I'm always mindset. I call it the awesome stuff, trying to figure out what your awesome stuff is. So important because what you consider wealth or what you're aspiring to or what's important to you might not be what everyone's telling you. And not only might it not be, it probably isn't. And there is this sort of dirty secret out there that people don't realize. If you achieve wealth and it's not something you love, it doesn't matter. You will not be happy. So that mindset piece is really important and is a lesson that ignoring the noise and getting it. I mean, I saw Colleen take an intake of breath because it's a big one.
Agreed. Because you are seeing all the, the Instagrams of people in Turks and Caicos and all these different places, everybody flying, but you're not knowing, what they're doing behind the scenes. You're not knowing what they're really going through. So staying in your lane, what you said, understanding, what awesome stuff that you really want to accomplish, what you want in your life, and then going out and working and getting those things and making yourself happy. I think that's a great piece by all of you. And I want to get back to, I want to know this because this is I want to give like a scenario type question. knowing what you all know now, what would you do differently if you just graduated high school or college in this day and age? Anybody take it? It's up for anybody.
For me, it's simple. I mean, I'm 46 now, so I see time behind me, and I love this stuff. Like I said, so I was doing investment real estate, doing stocks, bonds, day trading. I still do a lot of that stuff. Like I love it, but also it's consumed a lot of my attention, and this can just be automated. If everything I earned in my 20s, that first job, if I took 20%, and now that we have the tools, just automated it, put it in the entire stock market, set it and forgot about it through dollar cost averaging and, averaging the stock market, not stock picking, and just letting it do its thing. 20 years later, I'd be further ahead without the worry, without the stress. It'd be simple. It's just don't overthink it. And then money's not consuming your headspace or your mind. It's automated. Make money just fade into the background.
So that 20%, a practical tip for everyone, that 20% you would say is a good starting point for the young Gen Z, young millennials, new job. Hey, live off that 80, do what you want with that 80, but let's save and invest 20.
Yeah. And that's just because at that 20, I mean, you can save less, but you do 20 years, your money will be making more than you, more than likely. I mean, and then you've got the freedom to do, there you go. And I saw you light up. What do you want to do with that freedom? And it's going to be different for everyone.
Then I'll follow that up with I'm so grateful I started a Roth IRA when I graduated college, because I graduated in 2007. Here we are. I'm getting really close to that 20-year mark. And even though I taught for 5 years and then I was a full-time mom, I continue to contribute to that Roth IRA. And Jasmine, as a military spouse, you know how often we move around, and we continue to make that a priority. And I'm going to say David's pretty spot on with that number. When he said 20 years, I'm looking at my Roth IRA and I am so proud of that.
Oh, we looking good. Yeah. Yep. Starting that Roth IRA as soon as you can, putting that earned income in there and actually making investments. I know a lot of people kind of make a mistake and just put money into the Roth IRA and don't buy an investment to grow their money. Put that earned income in that Roth IRA and make sure you buy you an investment. I'm an ETF guy, love ETF. So index 500, something simple. And just like David, like Colleen said, let it grow over these 20 years and your money will be making more money than you. Come on. So I have one more question for you all. This is FY Fly, and we cannot let y'all leave without asking our famous final question. So I'm going to give y'all 2 quotes, and I need to know which one is more accurate in your opinion. Y'all ready? All right. So the first one is more money, more problems, like Biggie. Shout out Biggie Smalls. And the second one is money can't buy happiness. Which one is more accurate in your opinion?
Money can't buy happiness.
Okay. Why you say that, Colleen? You said that quick.
Well, I was also, I remember that it was Born to Die, right? Was that the album from Biggie that had that? I
think so. The more money, more problems.
Yeah, more money. Yep. Yeah. This is perk of being 40. I remember listening to that.
Yes, ma'am.
I
was listening to that before you was born, boy. I know that.
Like, listen up here. Listen up. So I have listened to that album, and it's really, you started thinking about it. I'm like, really, money, more problems? And if you don't have a plan, it can be. But if you have a plan, you're going to be okay.
More money, more opportunities, more solutions.
More money, more opportunities. So, money can't buy happiness.
That's deep. What you got for us, Jasmine? More money, more problems, or money can't buy happiness? Which one's more accurate?
I love Biggie. I love the Notorious B.I.G. And I do think more money, more problems to a certain extent. I think they're both pretty accurate. I do think more money, more problems if you don't have boundaries. People look at you when you have money, like they look to you to be the solution, especially if you are first generation, your family, or you're the person who has it together. People do look to you to fix problems when you have money.
Gotcha.
So if you don't have boundaries, if you don't know how to say no, if you don't have a plan, yes, there are more problems, as Colleen mentioned. So I think they're both pretty accurate. Again, the first one with the cap.
Okay, that's one. So we got 1 for 1, David. You gotta break the tie. Which one you going with?
I'm not breaking the tie. So for me, when I hear those things, they're saying the same thing.
Oh wow. Okay, break that down for us.
We think of money as a thing we're trying to achieve, destination. We hit the money, we're good. So we get the money, now we're happy. Or we get the money, all our problems go away. It's not. We're on a journey, and the money isn't, there is no, end of the rainbow and a pot of gold. Like, it doesn't exist. Both of them are saying that's an illusion. That thought that we get a certain amount and we're good is an illusion. They're both saying it's an illusion. They're both saying the same thing to me.
Okay. I like the way you broke that. I haven't heard anybody break it down like that. But I see what you're saying, because yes, boom, we get the $100 contract. Okay, but what's next? You know what I mean? That $100 million, that $1 million is gonna dwindle, and you're gonna need some more money. You know what I mean? So there's always another investment. There's always another business move. There's always another contract. So if you're not happy within that journey, you're not gonna be happy with the big contract. Yes, you can now buy the new Lambo. You can now go do this, do that. But you drive that Lamborghini 3-4 times, you're not as happy as you were the first time you drove it.
Well, now there's another more expensive one. There's no, I've never met anyone who hit the end and they're like, I achieved as much as I need and now I'm happy. That number doesn't exist. It's a moving target until you realize what's really important to you.
Yeah. This episode was full of gems for everybody. Thank y'all so much for jumping on the FY Fly pod. We had our pre-Fincon talk, so y'all already know we're going to kill it at Fincon. Let everybody know where they can reach y'all. If you have any final takeaways, go ahead. Of course, we're going to start with Miss Colleen, and then we'll go to Jasmine, and then round us off, David.
Sure. Yeah. Your listeners can find me. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, business at Salchow Coaching. And I also have a website, salchowcoaching.com. But yeah, I really enjoyed this conversation today. This was so much fun. And I was excited about New Orleans beforehand, and now I'm just pumped.
Yes, save it.
Thank you again, Hassan, for the opportunity. Your listeners can find me at thewealthplayground.com or at Jasmine Paul on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Yeah, super excited for Finn. I'm like, this is going to be so exciting. So I'm excited to meet y'all in person, and then also excited to meet all the other personal finance creators out there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. David D. Round us off, baby.
Thanks so much, Hassan. Yeah, same thing. Find us at FinCon. If you like money conversations, that's the place to go. Like, I love their tagline, where money nerds unite. I mean, that really is it. For me, like I said, mindset. So all my stuff's based around the awesome stuff. The website's the awesome stuff. TikTok, Instagram's at the awesome stuff. That's where you can find me and get access to anything I'm doing or find my book. And can't wait to see you guys in FinCon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank y'all again for rocking out with us here today. As we mentioned, take y'all some of these small gems that y'all heard here today, implement them into your game, and watch it change. So I'm going to need everybody to stay safe, stay invested, and stay FY Fly. We'll see y'all next week. Ooh, that's how we did.
Thank you all for listening to FY Fly, the podcast, and we hope you enjoyed the show. Tune in next week for more financial literacy insights with our special guests. Please visit our website, social media platforms, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at FYI Fly Podcast. That's FYI FLI Podcast. See y'all next week and stay fly.